In 1944, Al Jiggs Metcalf and his wife Agnes purchased a 7-acre piece of land on the banks of the Braden River with a dream of creating a fish camp for friends and family. Their dream soon became a reality, and Jiggs Landing became a landmark for countless local fishermen and nature lovers for more than 40 years. Manatee County government purchased the property in 2005 through state grants and contributions from the city of Bradenton. By the end of 2010, renovations had been made and new cabins were built to replace those that had fallen into disrepair. On a foggy December morning in 2010, the old camp reopened with a facelift, drawing fishermen, campers, and families who had loved Jiggs Landing for decades. The renovation project could not have been successful without the help of someone who used to call Jiggs Landing home. Sandy Metcalf lived with her aunt and uncle at Jiggs Landing from 1953 until 1964. During the 2010 renovation, Sandy provided crews with valuable input on how the camp used to look, ensuring that the layout of the new camp remained faithful to her family's vision.
The county was approached by a development company as they held title and development rights to the property when the acquisition took place around 2002. We came forward and began a negotiation process with the company and were able to acquire the lands under appraisal for $800,000. When we looked at the site and the 2.5 acres, we knew we were site limited as to what we could bring back, observing today's setbacks from wetlands, today's necessity for good stormwater quality treatment. And when the city of Bradenton came forward to donate the remaining 2.5 acres to round out a 5-acre parcel, it made possible the site plan we have here today with the concession buildings, the cabins, adequate parking, and complete stormwater treatment for this drinking water source for the city of Bradenton, the Evers Reservoir. It was a rustic spot, and but I knew then that being a freshwater resource here for a coastal county like Manatee County, it had a high degree of value. And I thought that building it more than just a boat ramp, but returning that classic fish camp atmosphere with concession, cabin, adequate restrooms, be a good thing to do for Manatee County. We hung on to the process of providing a boating opportunity, a lodging opportunity, and preserving the view of this lovely lake and the efforts that the residents of the past have gone into keeping that whole. We wanted to make this a facility for the next generation.
We have several other improvements that are also going to be coming within the next year, and that includes a canoe kayak launch and a brand new playground that will have all different sorts of river-themed items that young children can play around. We also have recreation of the cabins that were out here historically when this was a fish camp, and visitors can come visit that and peek in the windows and see what it was like to live out here. This is one of only 2 freshwater boat ramps in Manatee County. The boat ramp is open 24 hours a day. The preserve section, which includes all of the other amenities, is open from basically sunrise to sunset. Now, eventually in the concession stand, we will have a concessionaire who will vend food, bait, and also kayak rentals. And then the cabin rentals, which are the 4 small cabins that we have here, will be available for 2 weeks at a time. That's the maximum. And people can come out and rent and kind of get a taste of what it was like to stay on the river. People just really enjoyed coming out here. You know, families built entire vacations out here. They would come, they would stay at the fish camp, stay in the cabins, rent a boat. It was really a place where, you know, people came and spent time with their family. And I think that it has that history and people remember that, and it's something that really made an impact on them because of the role it played in building those good memories.
Aunt Agnes, which is Uncle Jiggs' wife, my uncle, she was my mother's sister. And we used to come out here. She would call us sometime when there was an empty cabin, and our whole family, we lived here in Bradenton for all our life, and we would come out here and stay for the weekend or stay for a night when there was available cabin, and And we used to swim across the river and fish out here, and Aunt Agnes would always say take a rowboat and have a good time if there were boats available. And it was a wonderful childhood to be able to come out here and spend time. I would always get up early and go down, and Aunt Agnes was always up early. And I like breakfast. Is my favorite meal. And Aunt Agnes could cook the best eggs and cheese that you'd ever have. And I'd come down here in the morning, visit with her, and have breakfast. And just early morning out here is amazing. But that was special. It's wonderful. It really looks great. I love the wood deck and all the cabins down there and the way they've set it up. It's really good.
Well, Jiggs Landing. Agnes was my aunt, my mother's sister, and I've been coming down here all my life and spent a lot of my summers down here. And when we'd get out of school, we'd come down and stay with David and Joan, and then we'd come out to the camp, and we stayed more in the water than we did on land. Being in the water with my cousins and fishing with my dad, we fished the river a lot.
Everything was centered around here. When the family got together for reunions or time spent together, then everybody came here.
January of this next year of 2011, we'll be married 50 years, and we spent our honeymoon here in the second cabin from the gate. As you're coming in, we spent our honeymoon there.
It was in the 60s, and we were young, and we didn't have a lot of money. And so they offered to let us stay in one of the cabins, and it was wonderful. It was peaceful and quiet, and it was just a very, very nice place to stay.
There's a lot of change. I mean, it's not as natural and all as it was back then, but it's turned out to be real good. I mean, it was good then. As a child and young person growing up, and then having our honeymoon down here, and then spending some time down here. But what we see today is great.
A good place to come back to.
We were hired by Manatee County. This is one of 5 projects that we're working on with them right now to do the site development, permitting, and to work with the community and Sandy Metcalf to try to bring about a decent site plan that everyone liked, and that would be something that would be a great amenity for the public. We took a look at a lot of the historic drawings, tried to put together a site plan that would meet everyone's needs. As you can tell, there's quite a bit out here for the public, but I think everyone worked together as a really good team to come up with a great design. We did the best that we could. I think the historic cabin is probably the best example of that, trying to reconstruct that so that people would have an idea of what used to be out here. And then again, having cabins out here that people could rent and access this property again is really wonderful. Prior to this, really, it was more of just a parking lot. People came out here, kind of a dump zone. If you had a chance to look even in the riverbed beforehand, there's a lot of garbage in there. It was really a mess. Other than the boat ramp, there really wasn't much in the way of accessibility for the public out here. So really not much in the way of amenities for fishermen or for boaters. So I think this has really been a huge turnaround, and the public who came out today I think is a really big example of that, so it was really nice to see.
To capture the flavor of old Florida, I think as a testimony to that was the turnout we had here today. You had a lot of members of the families that spent a lot of time here. Some of our county commissioners, like Commissioner Bussell, indicating he grew up here, along with many others. And I think in tying together the residents of our past, residents of our present, for our residents of the future is a good lifelong rope to design. A series of knots along the way to mark passage of time, but we are part of a continuum, and I'm looking forward to building more places like this.
If you'd like to know more about Manatee County Services, or if you have an idea for a program, we'd love to hear from you. Call us with your ideas at 941-745-3771 or email us at mgatv@mymanatee.org.